Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Pigskin Breakdown. I am Ghost Brandon Leonard, flying solo today in the host department. Jay is on PTO up at Lake Okoboji, hopefully bringing in some slabs, eating good. We hope that's the case at least. Hopefully he reports back next week and has some good news with that. We've got a fun guest today to keep rolling with the train of coaches throughout the state of Iowa, and we got a fun one today. Offensive coordinator Trevor McConnell from Coe College. Coach McConnell, thank you so much for joining us today on the Pigskin Breakdown. How are you doing on this Friday morning?
It's good. It's a little rainy here in CR, but you're also setting the bar way too high, calling me a fun one. You have no idea what I'm going to be like on this. This could dud out, so be careful on the expectations there. But yeah, it's good. Enjoying the last couple of weeks before we report to camp and get everything rolling.
For sure. I'm just trying to pump your tires there. That's what we do here at Sports Guys Iowa. Try to gas people up and gas the colleges up that we cover. Yeah, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time before camp starts, like you said. I think you said camp starts on the 12th technically.
12th will technically be the start for us.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's start off by telling everyone a little bit about who Coach McConnell is, where you came from, how you got here, and let's start from there.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Tampa, Florida. I claim Tampa, Florida as home. Born and raised down there. Moved to Michigan, and then I played my college ball. I was a D3 guy at Ohio Northern. Go Bears forever and always. And then after that, I was coaching at Valparaiso in Indiana. I came on as the offensive quality control coach there, worked into being the running backs coach there, and that was 3 years ago now. And 3 years ago, Coach Stake and I got connected, and he brought me on board at Coe as the wide receivers coach, and he hasn't been able to get rid of me yet. And so that's been an awesome piece of the puzzle. And that's really kind of been my short, brief stint in the coaching world, is that I got to Coe and hit the ground running and been running ever since. And I just loved being a part of Coe and that community side of it. And so this is where I've wanted to be and enjoyed growing in the profession here.
We love that. So you mentioned you're a bear. Now, that's just not a bear. That's a polar bear too, correct? I was doing my research. So you've been a polar bear with your college. Is polar bear a beacon? Were you a beacon at Valpo? Okay, that was after the change. And now a Kohawks. So we're excited to have you on campus here in Cedar Rapids, I'm sure. Now, when you were a player, did you always envision yourself becoming a coach?
I was one of those guys that was an athlete student. The college I was going to choose was very much so driven by football and that side of things. I had a wider range of things that I was thinking about doing when I got to college on that side of it. I got really lucky. Again, Ohio Northern changed my life with the people and everyone that I met there. But my freshman year, I ended up in 2 gen ed classes that changed my life. I had a gen ed PR class and I had a gen ed sport management class. Loved them. They both came relatively easy to me as well, which was nice. And from there, that's kind of how I figured out, hey, this is what I want to major in. I knew I wanted to stay around sports. I'm a firm believer in the difference that sports can make in somebody's life and the impact that they can have. And so that part I did know. I just had no idea what avenue I was going to be in it. And then as I kind of went through my college career, I got very lucky with the coaches that I was around. They were the type of coaches you want to be coached by. And so I also got really lucky that I got a 5th year through COVID. I chose to play my 5th year, but probably more importantly, after my senior year going into my 5th year, I stayed in Ada and I was basically an intern with the football program. And I kind of saw, hey, this is what, maybe not the glam and the glory of college football coaching, like what do the summers look like, right? I'd never seen that as a player and stayed around. Coach Krebs was our OC quarterback coach going into my 5th year. And I was around him a ton. Coach Dean Paul, who's the DC and associate head coach now at John Carroll, still a mentor to me. I was around them pretty much all summer. And I was like, wear sweats to work, play football, watch the game of football all the time. I can do that. If I can make a profession out of that, I'm not going to complain. And so that really set me on the trajectory of, hey, I want to give this coaching thing a shot. And then again, it's through networks and connections. Coach Cruzen, who was our receivers coach, kind of became our DB's DC. New coach Landon Fox at Valparaiso, he vouched for me. Coach Fox took a shot on a guy that had just graduated in December. And at that point, I'm in it. It's college football is chaos. It is its own controlled chaos, but I love it. It's my chaos. And so I think that's really for me the side of the piece of, hey, sports can have such an impact. I want to be the coach that you want to be coached by. I want to have that impact and have the ability to say, hey, if I need to, I can go to Coach McConnell for anything. Yeah, he's my football coach, but more so he's having an impact on my life that maybe I wouldn't have expected to have.
Yeah, certainly worse ways to make a living and the rewarding aspects. I talk about all the lifelong relationships you can being that person. I feel like I could talk to Coach Northern. I didn't even play football. That was my work study, was with the football team. And I could pick up my phone and talk to Coach Northern, the running back, Coach Sarah Coe, and just pick his brain about anything. So I'm sure that's something you'll be able to carry with you 10 years down the road from assuming you continue this role. Is that what you want to do? Do you have an end goal with coaching? Do you want to be a head coach of a program, or is just kind of taking it year by year right now?
The goal was to be an offensive coordinator.
Okay, there we go. So there's the box checked. We love that.
Yeah, so happy with where our feet are, and we're watering the grass where we stand. And so I don't know what next is. I'm not in a rush to be anywhere else or look anywhere else. I'm very lucky and blessed to be the offensive coordinator at a top 25 program in the country. And so I think from that point of view, like, I'm not really looking too far in the future. I've always been pretty good at staying in the moment. At times it drives my parents a little wild, and the fact that I don't necessarily plan, I don't necessarily look too far in advance. But in this profession and what I'm doing and how much I enjoy where I'm at, like, I'm okay. That piece of the puzzle will all work out. And so I don't necessarily know what the next goals are going to be. I think obviously having Coach Stake as a mentor is huge. And I think when that time comes, years down the line, of at some point, he's probably going to look at me and he'll ask me, like, that's who he is. That's the type of person he is. He'll be like, hey, what's your next goal? And I'll probably look at him and go, I don't know. And so I think he'll probably help me in that situation and being able to say, hey, like, this is where I think you might want to look, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, and I'm sure the results will speak for itself as well. You're in this role right now, obviously because you're past credentials, but also because Coach Donahoe took a next step and went to Nebraska Wesleyan as well. Let's talk a little bit about being grounded right now, living in the moment where you're planting that grass. 2026 Coe College. What can we expect from your offense here? Tell us a little bit about your role that you're in right now. Can we expect you to call plays? Are you going to be on the sidelines? Are you going to be in the booth? I know that's something that a lot of people are interested in.
Yeah, I'm very lucky and blessed. Coach Stake has believed and trusted in me. And so, yeah, I'll be calling the plays and doing that piece of it. I'll be honest with you, don't know from where yet. The first and foremost thing that really only matters is the players. And so I'm going to ask them, will they have the final say? No. Obviously, Coach Stake and myself will have that conversation, and him being on the sideline will be huge. But I'm going to ask the players what they want, right? It's about the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and the O's. And so I'm going to ask them what they're comfortable with. Where do they want me to be? What do they feel is best? And have that be a large stake in what we do. But I think that piece will all work itself out as we go through that and have that kind of conversation with our offensive staff. And Coach Litt has done a great job since he got here in the spring, and asking what he feels the most comfortable with as well. I want him to be really confident and comfortable on Saturdays, and where does he feel the best talking to the receiving corps. And so that's going to drive kind of the operation of it. What we're going to look like, we're going to be a player-driven offense. We have some of the most talented athletes, in my opinion, in the state of Iowa, from all walks of life across the country. And so that piece is going to drive everything we do on offense. Is what do our guys do best? How do they feel the most confident? How can we get them playing fast and playing in the best way on Saturdays? And so that's really going to be what drives every picture that you see on a Saturday from the Kohawk offense. Is going to be, hey, wow, they are using these players and the strengths that they have and allowing them to play really confident and feel really good going into Saturdays.
I love that. You mentioned the Jimmies and the Joes as well. From a Jimmies and Joes perspective, statistically, you bring it back pretty good amount. And it's the ever-changing world with college football right now, transfer portal and people going here and there. Let's talk about some of the names that are going to be coming back. First and foremost, when we had a show a few weeks ago, we had D3 reject Seth Howard on. And when we talked about the ARC, some players to watch, first name he said is Brady Kelly. Tell us a little bit about Brady and maybe who he's going to be distributing the ball to.
Yeah, love Brady. I think one of the coolest things, Brady's from Florida. And so him and I have had that relationship since he chose to come to Coe. The biggest thing with Brady is he is a facilitator of all facilitators, and he can make every throw. And the other part is he's an ultimate competitor. And I think that part is probably what's most exciting to me, is understanding that our roster is really talented and that quarterback room is really talented, and understanding that piece of the puzzle and allowing those guys to continue to go and take the next steps. Brady's had an incredible offseason. He was here all summer, and along with Luke Smith as well, another really talented quarterback for us, who played 4 weeks as our backup. They were here throughout the summer. My guess is, I haven't asked him, but Brady was up about 10 pounds. and feeling really athletic. And I think the biggest thing that Brady has asked of me is let him go, let him fly, and understanding that piece and allowing him to go play confident and allowing him to, hey, if I told him, hey, throw it through a hoop that is the diameter of a football 20 yards down the field, he would say put it at 30. And so letting him really play in that confident style, letting those guys understand that, hey, it's okay to be really optimistic and also be really confident and let everything fall. You're talented enough. We believe in you in that side of things. And so that's what allows our quarterback room to really be really successful. The guys that we're going to have, obviously the first one we're going to talk about is Jaron Centers. Jaron and I, one of the best pieces of the story here at Coe is, the piece that he was quote unquote redshirt sophomore when I got here. And I think he'd be the first one to tell you that he wasn't necessarily sure we were going to get along in that side of things. But now him and I are extremely close, and he does things that just the movements and the understanding of the game of football, right? Dad was a high school coach. His football IQ and the savviness of route running and the savviness of DB play. He played DB in the Shrine Bowl when he was a senior in high school. And so he gets that piece of it. And so the conversations that we can have with him and understanding again on Saturdays, like he'll be the first to tell you how he's going to beat a DB. He knows that piece and he looks at those pieces and understanding that. And so Jaron's going to have a big role, and he is reliable. He wants the football in the big time moments, which is what you want out of your stars and that side of things. In the backfield, it's going to be a committee, but good Lord, is it a talented committee? And so I think that piece is really awesome. And we got some guys that their goal is to be all region, all American focal type guys. And they understand to do that. They have to operate and they have to be able to do every little thing that we ask of them, right? In our offense, when it comes to the run game, it is decisiveness, it is confidence. And we got a group of guys right there in the backfield right now that are running confident, that understand what we're going to try and do. We're going to shift around some things to put them in areas that maybe they feel more confident, right? In the running back world, sometimes like guys like going downhill more. And so we're going to put them in the backfield. We'll put them in the pistol. We'll put them truly in the 7 yards, right behind the quarterback situation. Some guys don't necessarily want that. They want to be in the sidecar and they want to be able to work a little bit more laterally, right? And so that's really easy as a coaching staff for us to create. And if it means that those backs are going to be more confident, why would we not do that, right? Like, why would we not say, hey, yeah, we're going to change the mesh this much, right? And if my quarterbacks can't figure that out, we probably need to be looking for a new quarterbacks coach. And so I think those are the pieces in the facilitating side of things. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for guys to step up, right? Jackson Bethke had a stat line that's like out of Madden last year. He had under 20 catches, but he had almost double-digit touchdowns. And so those are those big play hits and those guys that are going to continue to grow in their role. Offensively, we're really deep. I think that's the biggest thing, is we are really deep. There's a lot of talent, and then there's a lot of hunger in it, in understanding, hey, yeah, we've been good, but understanding the 2026, 2027 Kohawks aren't the 2025, 2026 Kohawks. And that opportunity is going to be there. And that opportunity is all you can ask for. Go earn your role. Go earn the opportunities that you want. In the end, it's production-based business. We want our guys that we feel confident, that we trust, that are going to produce to get those opportunities.
Absolutely. Deep, you said iron sharpens iron. You look back. I know you said the 25, 26 is not going to be 26, 27, but you just look back at some of the production from those guys that you had there. Andrew White averaged 10.5 yards a carry right now is what I'm looking at last year. That's insane for your guy that's egged as RB3 on the depth chart. So good problem to have, to try to figure out ways to get all these guys the ball and have them succeed. So let's move a little bit differently here. You are the offensive coordinator, but you're also in charge of recruiting at Coe College?
I am.
Okay. So as far as your areas, what areas do you cover? And then how many coaches would you say focus on going out and recruiting? Is that something that everyone on the staff does, or is it just like X amount of guys on the staff that gets out and does that?
Yeah. I think one of the cool things with Coe and its location, it is a Division III school in a city, which is very, very niche, just in the small school world. And so those are the guys that we want. Like, we want guys to understand, hey, academically, curriculum wise, hey, like, this is what Coe is all about, is experiences. It's internships. It's getting out in the real world. It's using the connections of Cedar Rapids. And so with us, we are able to recruit nationally. Having the Cedar Rapids airport 10 minutes down the road from campus is great. We have 6 coaches on staff that are out recruiting, which is great. We divide the state of Iowa into basically a square, and it's got 4 quadrants of it. I've actually recruited 3 out of the 4 quadrants in my 3 years here. Started in Southeast Iowa, moved up to Northeast Iowa, was past recruiting cycle, and now I'm out in the Des Moines area and working that piece of the puzzle. So I've had a lot of fun just being able to, again, for me, like, I'm meeting new Iowa coaches every year and being able to go out and meet and understand. Again, Iowa football recruiting is arguably the most competitive recruiting in the country, because you end up with super talented football players that have so many different places they can go. You got the NAIAs, you got the FCS programs coming down from the Minnesotas, you got the D2s, like you have Missouri coming up, and then you have the strong Division III conference. And that piece of the puzzle and understanding how competitive Iowa recruiting is has been something I've had to learn since being here. And how you do that when you are a 26-year-old that hadn't been to Iowa and didn't know the scene is you talk to the high school coaches. And so that part has been a lot of fun and been great. And so our 6 coaches have their different areas. Coach Litt is from Chicago, so he recruits Illinois, and we're really excited about being able to have him kind of go back home and recruit the Illinois area, because we have had a lot of success with guys from Illinois, and being able to see that short drive and being still in drivable distance and seeing those talented players from Illinois get there. And then we work into Missouri, work into Minnesota a little bit. And then the biggest piece is the way we have worked up our states and our national recruiting is we're big on 1, connections, and 2, where do the flights go? We're lucky enough, we got 20 different cities that have direct flights into Cedar Rapids. And so a lot of those flights, we got 4 cities in Florida. Obviously, that's really helpful for me in that side of things. And so we got a good contingent from Jacksonville, good contingent Orlando, Tampa, and Miami. And obviously there's some really talented football players down there. We're working on Tennessee. There's a direct flight into Nashville. North Carolina, there's one into Charlotte. We've had a recent success in LA, and being able to kind of get some guys out of the SoCal area that there's less of an opportunity for them. There's a great Division III conference out there in SoCal, but that's it. And so the opportunity to come play elite football, come to the Midwest, if maybe you want to escape the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. And so we've had a lot of success in there. And then our Texas crew, we can fly to Houston, we can fly to Dallas, and the ability to come play elite football up in the Midwest from Houston and Dallas with really the prestigious football programs down there, the state championships caliber teams that they have down there in Texas. We've had a lot of success in bringing those guys up too. And we're able to create and ease the family concern, because while yes, it's not a drive, it is a direct flight. It's the ability to hop on a flight, get to Cedar Rapids, and be here on Saturdays to support your family and that side of things.
Yeah, there's so much talent here, but you'd be remiss to not turn over every stone, go and utilize all those direct flights. I guess that's something I never even really thought about doing. It's a great big world out there, and you got to hit those schools, the big states, the football states, your Texases. Coe got this guy in the early 2000s, Fred Jackson. I don't know.
Yeah, he does all right.
Yeah, he did all right for himself. Came out of Fort Worth, and his brother Patrick as well. So you just never know what kind of stone you're going to turn over. And it's good to go into those markets. And do you see any challenges, though, getting the big cities? Do they have this misconception of the state of Iowa? Like it's too small, it's just cornfield, something like that. How do you sell the city of Cedar Rapids? Is it just it's very accessible?
No, it is. Every single kid we bring in from out of state, I ask them one question. Was it what you expected? And every single one of them says no, because they are expecting, even when we tell them and show them the city, they're expecting it's going to be cornfields, like maybe 2 buildings, a college campus, and more cornfields. And so that piece, it's a stereotype that we can get past really quickly, because you just bring them on campus. For us, like all the guys that we recruit, we require them to come visit, right? For us as a program, we want our guys on campus, hopefully multiple times. Sometimes they're out of state guys, it's not possible, but they come up and they see it for themselves. And the city, the opportunity, the growth, the understanding of how unique Coe is as an institution with its location, it doesn't require a whole lot of selling. When guys come to visit, when guys get here, they understand why we've had the success we've had and why we're on the trajectory that we're on. And then they see that for themselves, and families see it for themselves. And that's also why we've had a lot of success. I don't know necessarily if you got any siblings or anything like that, but I'm an only child. And so obviously my parents, and when I went through my college decision, they were like, hey, we're going to be empty nesters like that. Where's this kid going? And so for us, allowing those families to see the investment. The truth is nowadays, college is an investment. You are making an investment in not only yourself, but also the experience and the other people around you. You talked about those relationships that you're going to have for the rest of your life. In the end, that investment has to be worth it. And Coe has a unique situation being in a city where you're going to, again, find a network that you never would have found, and also have an education that immediately translates to return on that investment. And so those are the pieces that when people come to visit, every single one of them goes, this is not what I expected at all. And that piece is really fun for me because, again, I didn't know Cedar Rapids before I got here 3 years ago. And Cedar Rapids has been nothing that I've expected either. So that's fun for me to be able to see, is those guys that maybe don't know Cedar Rapids, whether they're from Des Moines or they're from West Liberty. If they don't know the Cedar Rapids piece, seeing those guys come into Cedar Rapids, seeing those guys step foot on campus and be like, whoa, I had never been to Coe. I had never been to CR. And seeing that piece has been a lot of fun as a young coach that kind of spearheads a lot of the recruiting efforts, because it means I got something that I can really show. And it allows those guys to see the investment and see what they can get out of it for their own experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to get them on campus and experience that. I grew up in a small town about 45 minutes from Cedar Rapids, and I went to HLV. Grew up in Laura. I remember some of the things. But my first thought was when I got on campus, I'm like, man, do I really want to live in a city? And then you get into it and you're like, this isn't really a city. There's so many aspects that you can equate to a small town, especially Coe itself is just like, it does have just that small community vibe.
I think it's one of the unique experiences in small schools that you can make the experience whatever you want it.
Yeah.
If you want to go out of campus and turn left, we got hiking, we got fishing. My receivers love to go fishing. That's why I bring that one up. But if you go out of campus and you turn right, you're 5 blocks from downtown.
Yep.
You can truly make your experience at Coe whatever you want to make it. And then obviously we have our own bubble in the community that is our bubble. You walk through our campus and you don't even feel like you're in a city, which is really nice. So being able to make your own experience and have everything at your fingertips is something our guys don't take for granted.
No, they shouldn't. I'll change gears. We'll go to some rapid fire questions. You said you grew up in Tampa. Are the Bucks your favorite team?
NFL wise, if I had to claim one, I'm very lucky and blessed that I have some friends that are in the league or that have played in the league for a long period of time. And unfortunately, for the NFL fandom out there that are going to listen to this, I'm more of a players guy. None of my guys, I've had a couple that are big time guys, but a lot of my guys that I know are 1 year here, 1 year there, practice squad here, practice squad there. And hey, wherever they go, that's where my fandom goes. And those are some of my brothers for life and that side of things. That's a little cop out, but
hey, I can relate to that to a certain degree because JD, who is one of my colleagues here at SGI, his nephew's going to play basketball at Nebraska. And that just eats at me being a Hawkeye fan. So that's going to be something that's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, I feel, this year. Kind of cheering on the Big Red a little bit as long as they're not playing the black and gold. So I don't think that's a cop-out at all. I actually like that. You got to ride and drive with the guys. You played quarterback as well. Do you have a favorite quarterback that maybe you modeled your game after, you liked watching growing up?
I think my favorite quarterback as I kind of grew up was Drew Brees. In that side of things, just how he managed games and everything, along with kind of his injury history too. I really respected that piece of it. And I actually recently saw an interview somebody did with him about why he picked the New Orleans Saints over the Miami Dolphins. And I honestly just reiterated my choice. I didn't know that story, and I didn't know that half the reason him and his wife really leaned towards New Orleans was because of what that city was going through versus going playing for Nick Saban and going to Miami and the upcoming great defense, that piece of it. And then Matthew Stafford as well. My dad is actually close friends with Matthew Stafford's dad. And so Matthew Stafford has been somebody that I've always idolized and kind of seen how he's gone through progressions, ups and downs in Detroit, finally getting it in LA. So those would be kind of two guys that I've watched, followed, enjoyed, and also just hoped to be able to implement and be who they are, because it's not just about who they are in the field and in a lot of things that they do.
Absolutely. I love that. And I feel like Breeze has been making the rounds. I did see that clip there where he discussed what went into that decision, New Orleans versus Miami. And then I feel like he made the rounds. I want to say maybe it was yesterday where he just asked Sean Payton if he'd induct him into the Hall of Fame. So Again, another example of the relationships that a player can have with his coach. And you can truly see that impact. I'm sure Coach Payton just beaming from ear to ear. He seemed in disbelief that he'd asked that. How about best football movie? Do you got a movie that you like?
Probably remember the Titans.
Can't go wrong with that. Mine's Old Giants, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say remember the Titans right up there too. And Coach, we appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you for too much longer. You got a busy time ahead, preparing for camp and everything. So we always end all of our podcasts with the same question. If you're coming to Cedar Rapids for a game day, what's the one place where you would send someone to have a beer or have a meal? I know this is really tough because there's so many awesome places, especially right around campus. But if you had to power rank number one, where are you going?
I'm probably sending guys to Tornadoes.
Okay. Wow.
So if you're going to go burger, I'm probably sending guys to Tornadoes. Again, the best part about Cedar Rapids food-wise, and our offensive linemen have a spreadsheet. They know where all the deals are. They know, hey, Tuesdays at Bricks is endless boneless wings. They got everything down. But all of our restaurants they're mom and pop one-off shop, which is great. But Tornadoes, hole in the wall, kind of a little bit detached from the city, has incredible burgers. So I would say Tornadoes.
Man, I got to get there. I don't think I've ever been.
Highly recommend. Great burgers. It's more of a low-key ambiance and setup to it. Just a straight hole in the wall type of bar. And that's my type of thing. I'm just, hey, just let me go have a great burger, have a beer or two, and hang out.
I love that. I'm going to put that one in the bank because I'm going to try to get to campus at least one or two times this fall and hopefully check out the Kohawks light up the scoreboard. You guys have done a tremendous job the last few years. And shoot, I think you were close to top 10 in D3 offense last year, I want to say. If not, right?
It's all about next year.
Yeah, it's all about next year. So turn the page. We're really excited for this year. I'm really excited to watch the Kohawks. September 5th is going to be the first game against Vince Cornell.
Yep. So September 5th, Cornell here. And we're very lucky. We host 7 home games throughout this fall. And so the way just kind of schedule worked out and how everything is with the conference, with Luther rolling and that flip. So a lot of home contests. I'm excited to defend Clark Field and really get the city out and support and that side of things. So should be a lot of fun this fall. We're excited. And obviously the expectations and the standards don't change. So that's where we're going.
For sure. Yeah, it should be battle tested for ARC play with a longtime rival and then defending national champions, UW Oshkosh as well on there too. So those schools up in Wisconsin will really test that mettle. Very exciting time to be a Kohawk and a fan of the Kohawks, and I'm sure a player as coach as well. Coach McConnell, we really appreciate you again. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to talk with the SGI team, and best of luck in 2026.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for everything you're doing. Coach Stake will get on here soon, I promise. Put him on notice.
Yeah, he better. Or old Ghost will come back and put a hurting on him.